Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to start by congratulating the member in charge, Kamala Belech, for bringing this bill to the House. And I know it's always exciting when a bill is drawn for any member whose bill is drawn. And in the start, Madam Speaker, I just want to state this, that the ACT Party will not be supporting this bill. And because we do not believe that this bill is going to deliver what it says it is going to deliver. So the intention is good behind this bill. Gender pay gap is a real issue, but the mechanism that this bill uses, thinking that it is going to address that issue, it's not going to do that. So, Madam Speaker, we know that this bill will amend the Employment Relations Act 2000, and this is to protect employees if they disclose their remuneration by prohibiting the clause of not disclosing in their employment agreement. We believe, Madam Speaker, that an employment agreement is an agreement between an employer and an employee. We should not take that right away from them, what to include in the employment agreement or not to include in the employment agreement. Yes, of course, we want to see that the basic labour laws are. We have very good labour laws here in New Zealand, Madam Speaker, in our country, and we do not want too much
partnership, treaty. Oh my gosh!
Each and everything that happens at workplaces. Just to give two scenarios as examples here, Madam Speaker, if you look at the current scenario, I meet with a lot of people, like my other colleagues here meet with so many people on daily basis. And I know that people don't go around sharing their remuneration because it's a private matter. And this doesn't mean that each and every individual that I meet with have that prohibition clause in their employment agreement. But it's a private matter. They don't disclose it, we don't discuss it, that's totally fine. And now, Madam Speaker, if somebody reaches out to them, a colleague reaches out to them and asks for what their remuneration is, and if it is disclosed, and if it is different from the person who has asked, more than the person who has asked, that is going to create friction at workplace. Now look at the other scenario. If this bill goes through, then in that case, the employers will not be able to put this clause in the employment agreement. That means everybody will know that there is no prohibition from the employer. And a colleague goes to another colleague and asks what their remuneration is. And if they say that, no, I'm not disclosing that to you, then again, it's going to create friction amongst those colleagues, because they will ask that in good faith, that, yep, because there is no prohibition clause, they might disclose it for transparency, for reducing that discriminatory outcome that the member has talked about, and it won't result in what actually the member thinks it's going to result in. And we really think that it's the ability of the employee to negotiate on the basis of their skills what they earn, and we should not take that right away from the employee. And also, it is a mechanism for the employer to incentivize employees, those who deliver more. There might be people working at the same position, but there will be people, those who come with unique skill sets, are able to contribute more to the workplace, and the employer might want to incentivize them. So what will happen if this bill goes through? Then employers will stop incentivizing their employees on the basis of the contribution that they make, and that will take away that motivation from employees as well to work harder at their workplaces. It's very important that we support our economy, we support the productivity, because we know that the state of the economy that is left by the previous Labour government is causing
it's Labour's fault, guys.
What we should be doing is actually supporting the growth of the economy. We should be supporting increasing productivity, and we should be actually supporting that people are able to invest. And we should be creating an environment where people feel confident about investing, not just in starting a new business, but also growing their business, employing more people. And these are the things we need to do to actually help people earn more, help people reach their potential where they think that they are earning that they deserve. So, Madam Speaker, everybody's circumstances are different, skills are different, and this is a relationship between an employer and employee that should remain intact. It is a relationship of trust and respect that we should not take away by intervening. And as I said before, that of course we want to see that all agreements are upholding basic labour laws, and our labour laws are good. So, Madam Speaker, we do not support this bill. Thank you.
Now, I remember when I was working at Domino's Levin, we did a transparent incentive program. So we started off with trying to get people to sell more sides, was that you got a 10-cent bonus for every side you sold. And that worked for some that didn't. Then they introduced a new incentive, which was that the person who was the highest side bonus got an extra $20 a week. Now, it was really frustrating because for 12 weeks in a row, I was in the top 3, but I never got to number 1 because I didn't work Sundays. And including one particular week, on my own, I sold more than 2 boxes of garlic bread.
She mentioned, I also would like to touch on the fact that she mentioned that this won't fix the gender pay gap. It wasn't the best way to fix the gender pay gap. And I'd just like to hear ACT's alternatives. What is the alternative? How do you fix it? What if this isn't the best option? What is the other option that you want to propose, or what is something else that will fix the gender pay gap?
She could do a Chloe small break and place a submission in to the committee it gets referred to. And then sit in front of it. Now, actually, I've just got to check. Is she part of that? She may actually be part of that committee, which could be technically a conflict of interest. Because I think
a conflict of interest in this government. Oh my goodness!
So shocking. So shocking. I find it really interesting as well that they, especially ACTA so far, have talked about it in a black and white kind of way, whereas all the businesses that I've been involved in, I know, because I do contract work at the moment, I have legal provisions in my contracts not to discuss my pay rate because the commercial entities that I work with are beholden to a whole bunch of different people, and I have different rates for different clients, and there's a whole bunch of different factors that come into play. But if somebody asks me how much, well, I want to get into what you do, how much should I ask for? Then I can give them a relative guide. At the same time, if I'm working at a company and somebody's been at that company 5 years and I've just started, I don't expect to be on the same rate as them because they've had the experience, they've put the work in, they've earned the right to earn more. And I don't think there'd be many employees out there who are going, you know what, I'm brand new and I'm shit hot. I should be getting the highest pay rate that anybody in the company is getting. It just doesn't work that way. Most people are sane, except for the 8% that voted for ACT.
And then she mentioned like some very, these examples do exist, but they're not, they're very, very small, very, very minor, and they don't, cover mostly what this bill's about. She mentioned how this might hinder small businesses starting up.
Somebody please think of the businesses who donate to us.
Think of the small businesses. Think of the same services who run coffee cups in the world. Think about the poor customers such as Judy Anderson who brought slushies on Friday, but Kendall Barry didn't.
Which it isn't even true. It probably incentivizes more small businesses starting up, actually, because it allows people to talk and converse more, and there's actually part of a Koga community there. You can start talking, you can start feeling comfortable around other people. And then she mentioned about how it might disincentivize some workers to being more productive or some stupid thing along those lines. Like, no, you need, in order to have a productive workforce, you need to have a workforce that trusts each other and works together. It's this whole thing about competition. You need more competition. Yeah. It's there might be some instances where some people might want to compete, but how can you compete if you don't know what either side is earning? If you don't know what either side is talking about? If I'm looking from a purely ACT perspective there, and in order to have a better workforce, a workforce that is more productive, a workforce that actually, is welcoming and actually allows more people to work there, is by talking, by being part of a community, instead of having, a robotic workforce where no one talks about anything, which is exactly what ACT wants. The second robots become available, ACT will be pushing that through the door right away. It allows more workers to come in and actually feel welcomed because you can talk to each other. No one wants to work in a workplace where they feel uncomfortable, they feel that they cannot actually talk to their colleagues, they cannot be part of a community there, because then they'll leave to another job where they do feel comfortable, where they do feel part of a community there. It's just backwards thinking.
Okay.
Can I just respond to this before you jump on to the next one? This comment here from Dave. I've been in the same situation. I know people who have gone into a business and yet they get paid more than people who haven't been there or who have been there longer. And it's another reason why that you should be able to have these discussions about how much people get paid, so that people who have been there longer do get those kind of rewards for having put in that effort and that work and have been able to prove themselves.
Also, the other one is about speaking about this. This can also sit down there and catch out those employers who may not pay their staff the minimum wage.
Even if it's like very few people, very few companies, you still need to call them out for it, even if it's a small amount of companies, because you're only as good as the worst business, right? Your business culture. Yep, there we go.
The race to win the worst was an employee morale award. As we remember from the Fair Go Ad Awards, how often did you see the worst ad award person come and pick it up? Unless you're Lily from Big Safe Furniture who took a badge of honour, I don't think most of the time the people collected them.
Yep.
Yeah. So now let's go from one Easter egg. We'll go